Okay, let's unpack this. We have a really fascinating stack of sources today that sit right at the razor's edge of medical aesthetics and really specialized business strategy.
That's a good way to put it.
You're asking us to pull apart two pretty complex narratives. On one side, you've got this 1060 nanometer diode laser, the absolute cutting edge for non-invasive body contouring.
Right. The tech.
And on the other side, you have the business of it, these highly regulated, elite pathways that professionals need to follow just to get their hands on this kind of technology.
That is our mission, exactly. Our sources really detail this convergence where the science meets, I guess, regulatory rigor. We're not just looking at a machine in a vacuum.
It's a whole system.
It's a tightly controlled system, yeah. So it's a deep dive into two interconnected things: the very specific science of destroying fat cells and the professional accreditation, this elite program that is the gatekeeper.
So our goal is twofold then. First, understand how this laser actually works, on a molecular level to permanently get rid of fat.
The science part.
And second, what does a salon have to do? What do they have to learn and who do they partner with to go from being just another beauty provider to being, well, elite?
It's all about that strategic knowledge. The challenge is showing how the science informs the business strategy and how the business strategy makes the science accessible.
Okay, let's start there with the business side, the pathway. Our sources point directly to a company called Bodi. They're described as Australia's leading international body sculpting training academy.
Been around a while too, since 2011. They focus on high-quality online training for salon owners, for beauty professionals, really all over the world.
And they're not unknown. They've got mentions in Women's Insider, CEO Times, USA News, so they have some clout.
Yeah, when you're dealing with this kind of, high-power aesthetic tech, reputation is everything. Bodi Slim's credibility seems to be heavily linked to their main trainer, Tanya.
Right, and her credentials. I mean, when you look at the list and the source material, it's almost intimidating. We are way beyond a standard beauty diploma here.
Oh, absolutely. It's a portfolio that looks like it belongs to 3 different people.
It really does. You see a certificate 4E in training and assessment, which, okay, that makes sense for a trainer. But then there's certified life coach.
Which is interesting. And then it gets really clinical.
Hmm.
An advanced beauty therapy diploma, sure, but also multiple CPD certified diplomas in nursing and patient care, clinical nursing skills, even diet therapy.
And it doesn't even stop there. The list keeps going. She has a certificate in AI specifically mentioning ChatGPT.
Right. This isn't just a trainer. She's a multidisciplinary specialist. And it shows you that this field, it's not just about technique anymore. It's about bridging clinical knowledge, psychological coaching.
And now tech fluency. I mean, wait, let's pause on that for a second. A certification in ChatGPT. How does that specifically relate to training someone on a medical-grade laser?
That's a great question. The sources don't spell it out completely, but the implication seems clear. Traders now have to guide professionals in a world where anyone can look up anything.
Right, there's so much misinformation out there.
Exactly. It suggests the training isn't just how to use the laser, but how to talk about it, how to position it against all the noise online, maybe even using AI for client communication. It just signals that they're ready for what's next.
That really reframes the whole thing. And this expertise, it leads to their main offering, the elite program. So what is this VIP pathway? Why is it so important?
It's basically a curated, and I'd say protected, supply chain. The sources say the program came from a lot of research, a lot of negotiation with trustworthy Australian medical-grade suppliers.
So it's a shortcut to the good stuff.
It's a vetted shortcut. It gives you direct access to high-end TGA-compliant devices, the kind of powerful tech that's usually just for big medical aesthetic clinics.
So it solves two huge problems at once: getting access to the best machines and making sure you're compliant from day one.
Precisely. And that second part, the compliance, is critical. TGA Therapeutic Goods Administration, that's the Australian gold standard.
It's the difference between a real clinical tool and just some gadget you bought online.
100%. TGA compliance means it's been through a rigorous review for safety, quality, and that its claims are backed by actual evidence. It stops you from buying those random overseas imports that have no safety net.
And if you're charging high-ticket prices, you just can't afford that liability, not when you're using intense heat on someone's body.
No way. It's risk mitigation first, asset acquisition second. Which brings us to their first point of contact, this free E30-minute elite consult. The sources are very clear this is a strategy session, not a sales pitch.
So what happens in that session?
It's all about custom strategy. They look at what services you already offer, they help you shortlist the right hero machine for your specific market, and they actually compare real models side by side.
I like that.
And here's the kicker. They give you the full TGA training pack before you invest a dime, so you know exactly what regulatory hoops you have to jump through before you even think about buying.
That's just smart business. Here's the map to compliance before you buy the car.
Okay, so now that we get the business pathway, let's get to the car itself. The science. 1060 nanometer diode laser body sculpting. What is actually happening here?
We're talking about photothermolysis, which is just a fancy way of saying targeted heat destruction.
With a lot of selectivity.
Incredible selectivity.
Right.
The laser creates this high thermal load, this intense heat, but almost exclusively in the adipose tissue, the fat cells. The whole point is to disrupt and break down those cells using very, very precise heat.
And why that number? 1060 nanometers. It sounds so arbitrary until you dig into the physics of it.
It's not arbitrary at all. It's absolutely critical. Every wavelength of light gets absorbed by different things. Shorter wavelengths, the kind you see in other laser treatments, they get absorbed more by melanin, your skin pigment, and water.
Which would be bad. If the skin absorbs the energy, you get burned.
You get burns, you get collateral damage, but 1060 is different. It has a uniquely high attraction to fat cells and almost no interaction with melanin.
So it's like a sniper. It's a perfect analogy. It's a sniper targeting only one type of cell. The energy just passes right through the skin harmlessly and then dumps all its heat when it hits the fat layer underneath. And that's the scientific reason it's safe for all skin types, which is a massive advantage in the market.
That really is a key differentiator. You mentioned intense heat, but they claim it's safe. That brings us to this critical safety window, 42 to 47 degrees Celsius. That is a tiny operating range.
It's incredibly narrow.
What happens if it slips outside those 5 degrees?
Well, that 5-degree range is the sweet spot for what's called apoptosis, or programmed cell death, in fat cells. If you go below 42 degrees, you just don't get enough heat to do the job properly. The treatment won't be effective.
Then above 47.
Above 47 degrees, you're in the danger zone. You risk damaging the skin or surrounding tissues, even with all the cooling systems they have. So maintaining that temperature, that 42 to 47 window for the whole treatment, that's what makes it medical grade. It's an amazing piece of engineering.
That context makes it so much more impressive than just, it gets hot. Okay, let's talk clinic efficiency, because if you're dropping that kind of money on a machine, you need your client throughput to be high.
And it's built for speed. The standard treatment is just 20 minutes per area.
Yeah.
Super fast. But the real breakthrough is the hardware. Have 4 applicators you can use at the same time.
4 at once.
Yep. They're designed to fit different body parts. Waist, arms, thighs. So the ability to treat 4 different spots in only 20 minutes, that's a huge win for a busy clinic.
Let's get back to the biology. Once the laser has done its job in that 42 to 47 degree window, we get this 4-step elimination process. Walk us through that.
It's actually a very elegant and natural process. Step 1 is target. That's what we just discussed, the laser heating up the fat cells.
Right.
Step 2 is breakdown. That intense targeted heat destroys the structural integrity of those cells permanently. They're basically turned into waste material.
And then the body's cleanup crew takes over.
Exactly. Step 3, eliminate. Over the next 3 months or so, the body's lymphatic system just goes to work. It sees these dead fat cells as debris and clears them out of the body for good. This isn't just shrinking fat cells, it's removal.
And the final step, the result.
Step 4 is the final result, the permanent elimination of those fat cells. The sources are clear. They do not regenerate. You might see results in as little as 6 weeks, but the optimal final shape is usually visible around 12 weeks.
And that timeline is key for managing client expectations.
Absolutely. Now, given the heat we're talking about and the power 240 watts total, the machine itself needs to be pretty robust.
This is serious gear.
It is. You can't run that kind of power without serious cooling. So it has this advanced contact cooling on the applicators themselves to keep the patient comfortable. But for the clinic's sake, it has a unique internal water cooling system so it can run all day without losing power or stability.
And that's all monitored, I assume?
Oh, yeah. Real-time temperature detection on the handles. And the clinic can adjust everything on the back-end energy levels, pulse width, to tailor the treatment for different people or different areas.
So we have this hyper-efficient, powerful, precise technology. But let's zoom out a bit, because the sources make some pretty surprising claims about holistic benefits. It feels like this is where aesthetics starts to bleed into wellness.
It's fascinating, isn't it? They talk about systemic effects. They claim that by raising the body's temperature by just 1 degree, the treatment can boost your metabolism by up to 12%.
12%.
Yep. And they say this helps with getting rid of excess water, reducing bloating, things like that.
A metabolic boost is a huge claim to tie to a local fat treatment. What else?
It gets deeper. The lasers is claimed to help reduce visceral fat. That's the dangerous fat around your organs. And even fatty liver. Plus, it helps with the look of cellulite. And they even suggest it helps the immune system by promoting the removal of metabolic waste. They're basically packaging this not just as a cosmetic procedure, but as a kind of light internal tune-up.
It's a very compelling sales pitch. And of course, the recovery aspect is huge for clients.
Huge. Zero downtime. It's safe, painless, good for all skin types because of that 1060 wavelength, and the client walks out of a 20-minute session and goes right back to their day.
And just to bring the tech specs full circle, this thing is not small. It weighs 70 kilograms. It's a serious piece of clinical equipment.
Right. That alone tells you it's a long-term, high-value asset, not some cheap import. The specs confirm it. Diode laser, 1060 millimeters, 240 watts of power. These numbers just reinforce what we said at the start.
That only a salon committed to professional training and investment can handle this.
Exactly. And that brings us right back to the business proposition. By building your services around this documented TGA-compliant tech, a salon immediately sets itself apart. You become an elite salon. You can command premium prices.
You're out of the noise of the entry-level devices and sketchy online marketplaces.
The credibility is the currency. The elite program doesn't just teach you how to use a machine, it teaches you how to procure, manage, and deploy a medical-grade asset so your reputation is as solid as the tech.
Okay, so let's synthesize this whole deep dive. We've really uncovered this dual dependency. On one hand, you have breathtaking, scientific, precision-destroying fat cells with targeted heat in that tiny, crucial 42 to 47 degrees Celsius window.
Science.
But on the other hand, to even get access to that science, you have to pass through this strategic business gate, one that demands professional accreditation, vetted suppliers, and rigid TGA compliance to protect everyone involved.
And this convergence, it really brings up a bigger question, I think, for anyone watching how professions are evolving. Just look at that trainer's profile again, Tanya White. She needs certifications in advanced nursing, diet therapy, life coaching, and even AI just to teach in the aesthetics field.
Right.
So what is that profound matchup of credentials, blending medicine, behavioral science, and new technology? Tell us about what it's going to take to be an expert in the future. It suggests that the path to being a true professional, especially in these high-end services, is becoming less about one niche skill and way more about a kind of holistic, interdisciplinary mastery. You have to be an expert in everything around the laser, not just the laser itself.